Hello folks, welcome to another Porch Chat smoking video. Of course, got my drink. Got water. Going with Osaka today. Osaka. My mom calls it Osaka. Okay, can you buy me some Osaka water? Me, I don't think they have such a thing. Well, maybe in Japan they may have a brand called Osaka, but so today I'll be smoking Brick House Maduro. It is a strong cigar. This is a Toro size, or some people may call it a double Corona. Because the thing, a Toro, yeah, it's probably a double Corona because the Toro is about this size, but the tip is actually pointed. So it is a cross cut V. I used the V cutter and just did a cross cut like an X. And because it is a big cigar, a double Corona. Of course, gotta use my quad. This is my actual quad torch lighter today. Yeah, I had to refresh my humidor beads today, since I grabbed the cigars. That hey, I might as well do some some humidor maintenance. Nice smooth draw actually. I don't know who makes which one of the big houses. It could be Rocky Patel. So I'll probably end up smoking about 2/3 of this. See what a band is. I'll probably smoke it down to there before I gotta put it down. Yeah, and your body will tell you, when you gotta put the cigar down. Yeah, so I'm a little bit behind. I'm getting videos edited and uploaded. I got them shot, edited. Just need to get them uploaded, and I'm almost caught up. I'm about 1 to 2 videos behind. So if you see me upload 2, maybe 3 video in one day, that's because I finally got around to uploading them. Yeah, and this is the big gauge. This is about 60 gauge. This is what most Churchills are going to be about 60 gauge. So most Churchill will be about this size, probably about an inch longer. That would be a Churchill. Now some people consider a Churchill. No, like, I don't know. Yeah, this would be, to me, this would be a double Corona. It's basically and there's another size which is called the Gordo and Presidente. The Gordo is basically a Churchill, but a 65 gauge. The Presidente is longer, probably about basically anything longer than a Churchill. It could be an inch longer, half an inch. But normally Presidente will be probably around a 50 to 55 gauge, which is around where I like to smoke. 60 gauge. Now the reason I got this because I ordered a pack of Brick House Maduro Corona. Then I ordered it's either a Monte Cristo or Gurkha. I think it was Gurkha. That was in the double Corona size. And the cigar website that I ordered from sent me the Corona size Brick House Maduro and these double Corona. So I was like, what the heck? Where's my Gurkha at? And since I didn't want to bother with sending it back, I should have. Now a lot of time, if you do tell them, hey man, I ordered these Gurkha, you sent me some Brick House Maduros instead. But a lot of time, if you go to them and say that, they'll go ahead and say, hey man, keep your cigar. We'll ship you the Gurkhas. And I should have. It's a little too late now. I should have jump on the website and did you sent me the wrong cigar request. And Yeah, most of the cigar websites, they will, they will work with you. Again, if they send you the wrong cigar, they'll just tell you, man, hey, that's on us. Don't bother sending it back. We'll send you. We'll send you whatever it is that you ordered. Now, unless it's a box, I think if it's like a 5 count or a 10 count pack. Now, for a box of cigar, they might do the ship that back. We'll pay for the shipping, because they're like, ship it back, but you gotta pay for the shipping. I'm gonna be like, unless it's a box of 300, $400 or $500 cigar that that I ordered, it came wrong, then I'll probably myself pay for the shipping. But if it's a box was like 100 or 200, I'm like, no, you guys pay for the shipping, or you guys shouldn't ship me the correct cigars. Yeah, because the more expensive cigar, I guess. Yeah, it's windy out here. You definitely want the ones that you paid for, and not some other one that they sent to you by accident. Because now unless unless I ordered some cigar and they sent me some higher brand, like say they sent you a box of David off by accident, or a box of Padron. Again, I gotta look it up, see who makes Brick House Maduro. I think it might be Rocky Patel. That damn bug trying to fly in my ear. Yeah, I need a haircut, and like the hair is like growing over my ear, which I can't stand. It's poking my ear. No, I'm not gonna bring out the suck cut. So basically, okay, let's stop. The word repatriation. I've not heard of that word until the coronavirus hit, and the U.S. is bringing back all of their citizens from abroad. And of course, I watched a few videos on people talking about, hey, let's do repatriation of I guess people who came into the U.S. Now, I'm all for if you're here illegally, yes, you need to be deported. I'm not even going to call it repatriation. You need to just be deported if you're here illegally. But basically, what repatriation is that a lot of people use. They go way back to the colonial days, to the missionary days. Of course, we still have missionaries today, but back in the day, when you took on a missionary position, you the priest would go to a I guess if you're a Catholic church or whichever denomination of Christianity you would go to your church. You would tell them, hey, I want to go to Colombia or whatever, and build a church there, and convert those savages to Christians. So the church goes, okay, here's some money. Go down there and convert those savages. So technically, the priest would go down to wherever, Colombia, India, some parts of Africa, and he'll build his church with the money that the church gave him. And he's pretty much going to be there for life. And a lot of times these guys would either bring, well, I guess if it's a Catholic church, I guess if you're a missionary, they allow you. I don't know, I'm not of that denomination. Either way, the guy may bring his wife, or he may bring his wife and kid if they have kids. Or let's say the guy goes there with his wife, wherever they're at, let's say they're in, Nigeria. They have a kid. The kid is still going to be, French. He's still going to be considered a British. He's still going to be considered a Frenchman, a Britishman, a Spaniard, or wherever it is that he came from in Europe. Even though his family's so a missionary back in the days, because today, if for a missionary, what they do is, there's churches all over the world already. What they'll do is they'll send you off to a foreign country for a set number of months or years, then you come back. But back in the old days, you went there and you stayed as a missionary. Now, yeah, you may take trips back to Spain, France, England, wherever you came from, Italy. But your home is wherever your missionary church you decide to set up. So one of the examples they used was a missionary going way back in the day. So I was kind of nodding my head going, okay, yeah, that's correct. If the missionary goes to South Africa, or goes to India, there's a lot of Englishmen were in India, and he has a kid, and some of them may even take a local wife and have mixed kids, and those kids would be considered Englishmen too. And the other one would be a colonial. Back in the colonial days, a colonist or a colonialist, you would actually go there. There's two types. There's a type that went there to settle. There was a type that went there on like a contract. Think of the movie with Val Kilmer. What's that movie about the lions that the two rogue lions, male lions that was killing all of those people in Africa. Heart of the something, heart of the Africa, heart of something. I think what the movie's called. So he goes there with his wife. He's an engineer, and he's tasked with building a bridge. And he can't build the bridge because the lions are killing all of his African workers that he hired. And of course, once he's done with that project, if they give him another project, he'll continue staying in Africa. But if not, he'll go back to England. It's kind of like today. If you get a contract to work overseas, it could be 1 year, 2 year, 3, 4, 5 year contract to work overseas. Once you're done with your contract, you come back. But a colonist is someone who actually moves their family to wherever, whether it be India, whether it be Africa, South America, whatever, and their plan is we're going to stay here, and this is going to be our new home. But the argument is that let's say you're an Englishman and you go to India as a colonist. Of course, India kicked the British out. But if it wasn't for the British, India wouldn't be where they are today. India still has English ties. It's a nice cigar. It is strong. It smells strong before I lit it. Yes, it does have that strong coffee taste. And the argument was that the colonist is there. He's colonizing the place. He plans on staying there. He might even get a single men who go there will probably take on a local wife, but a lot of them will take their wife with them. And if they have a kid, let's say a British colonist in India, if they have a kid, that kid is still considered an Englishman or British. He's not considered a India person, but he can take on an India citizenship, but he's still looked at as a white kid from England. And that will be the same for now. Of course, when India kicked all of the British out, they had to be repatriated back to England. So a lot of them did come back to England. Some may have decided to stay in England, but when they got kicked out, it was repatriate time. Same here in the United States. I know people, for those who never travel overseas, if you go to Asia, Africa, South America, if you mention American, they will think of a white person. They're not going to think of an Asian person. They're not going to think of a Middle Eastern person. They're not going to think of a black person. Now, if you say New Yorker, they will think of a black person. Now I'm speaking this about Asians. I'm not 100% sure about South Americans. I'm pretty sure about South Americans too, because a lot of them, when they say, even the ones who are here, when they say American, they're referring to a white person. But definitely over in Asia too. If you refer to an American, they're referring to a white person. But New Yorker, if they're referring to a New Yorker, they're referring to a black person. So yes, so to the rest of the world, the word American, referring to someone as an American, they're referring to a white person. Yeah, and speaking of immigrants, you know, they're referring to the they stopped using it, but they were throwing around the word economic refugees, and they stopped using it because there is no such thing as economic refugee. You know, immigrants. Then they start using, you know, economic migrants, economic immigrants, which is the more correct word. But basically, it's just immigrant. If you're moving from one spot to if you're moving from one country to another country, you're immigrating. It could be economic, but 9 out of 10 times it is because of economics. You know, mostly if it's an American, say an American moving over to, like, say, you know, Japan, China, or moving to you know, Vietnam or Thailand. Now those folks, now Americans moving out of the U.S. are technically not moving to these countries because, you know, the economic advantages there are better. So that 1% would normally be like an American or a European. See when I say American? But white folks from the U.S. moving to these other countries, or European moving to Asia or Africa. And they're not moving there because you know, the economics where they're at is horrible. Well, it might be now, and they're moving to a place with better economics. But so basically what I'm saying is, folks who are moving from other countries to a Western country, 9 out of 10 times it is economics. So don't even bother. So I'm trying to say, don't even bother trying to label it as a economic migrant. It's, you know, if you're migrating from one country to another, it's 9 out of 10 times it's for economics. You know, you might, you know, that 1% would be, like I said, Westerner moving to some other country, or a refugee. Well, actually, refugees wouldn't even be in the immigrant category. Refugees are in their own category. And then, of course, you have the political asylee, which I guess I'll put in with the refugees, because that's how we came to the U.S. We came as refugees with my parents, and yeah, we didn't have nothing. We came with basically the clothes on our back. And, you know, my parents were sent to an ESL class, learn English. They had job placement assistant. Of course, it was, you know, it wasn't burger flipping jobs, but they found them, you know, low paying wage jobs. And the one thing, and I can see how a lot of people who come as refugees or come as immigrants tend to vote Democrat, because number one, where they're coming from is a socialist country. When they land here in the U.S., the Democrats are already in their ears. You know, we Democrats are for the are for the minorities. We're for the poor people. We are for you. Whatever help you need. Damn it, man. Double check, make sure. Okay, the holder was pushing down one of the buttons, so I just want to make sure that the video is still recording. You know, and those Republicans, you know, they're a bunch of rich people. As a matter of fact, they're not just rich, but they're a bunch of racists. You know, so don't even bother voting for them. Of course, like I said, a lot of these folks who are refugees to the U.S. or immigrants to the U.S. come from a socialist country to begin with. So they're already socialist minded. They're already liberal minded. Because they voted in the dictator that's kicking their ass. But a lot of times these folks, and I've seen this firsthand, a lot of times these folks will be put into the ghetto. The ghetto meaning black neighborhoods, or back then it would be And of course, being new to the U.S., you're not even going to know that, hey, this is the ghetto that they put us in. We need to get our asses out. And yeah, they put us. It was New York when we landed. It was in the ghetto, or the house that they, because it was I guess we had housing assistance, but they stuck us in the ghetto. I remember. It's one of those, kind of like in the Bronx, the brown or the red brick buildings. It was a building like that I remembered. And yeah, it was a high-rise apartment that we were in, and I guess back in the 70s, it wasn't as bad as it probably is now. Back in the 70s, the black family was somewhat still intact. Yeah, the 70s was the beginning of the unraveling of the black family. But back then, they were, because I remember playing with some of the kids, they had mom and dads, with them, or in their household. Strong cigar, man. I'm telling you, I probably won't be able to get this down to about 2/3 and then have to put it down. So yeah, and that's part of the thing too. Is that if you're an immigrant here, let's say unless there's someone who sponsors you, like say an Asian family, because like I say my mom and dad have sponsored. They sponsor not only their cousins. Yes, I know that the chain immigration. Chain immigration now is kind of hard to do. And even if Trump gets rid of it, I'm all for it. Not now. You gotta wait. Let's say you want to sponsor your sister or your cousin or brother. Parents is quicker. Parents is still around 4 to 5 year wait time. Kids is quicker, of course. But let's say you want to do a brother, sister, or a cousin. They gotta wait 12 years. There's until Trump's new chain immigration thing kicks in, where of course you get, where he gets rid of it. Right now, it's about 12 years. So it's like, okay, so you got to wait 12 years. So if you're around my age, or if you're around 30s and 40s, it's not even worth it. So you might just, it would be worth it for someone who's like, let's say you're trying to sponsor a teenage cousin. They can definitely wait. But they'll probably still be in their late 20s by the time their case comes up to come to the U.S. Of course, the big one right now is the H-1B one, which is the work visa. The biggest hit sector is, of course, the tech sectors. All of the jobs going to India, and it was going to the Philippines. I remember the company that I did work for. They're trying to open up a center in the Philippines, and of course the deal fell through. I guess supposedly I was told that the building that they were trying to remodel to get the center set up, they couldn't get the deal through. And of course the CEO of my division that I was in, he does his yearly visit. Come visit the peasants. The guy's pretty cool. He's not one of those. He wasn't one of those CEOs that they hired from outside and came in. I don't think he's with the company anymore because the company downsized, and that's why I'm no longer working with the company. But he's one of those guys that came in, at the floor level and worked his way up. So I got to talking to him. I was like, "Hey man, you went to the Philippines, right?" And he's like, "Yeah, I went to go check out the let me fix the canoeing here." And I said, "Yeah, you realize how dangerous the Philippines is, right?" He goes, "Yeah, the Philippines is pretty dangerous." I was like, "Did they give you any bodyguards?" Cause I know, because I was watching I think it was on History Channel way back when History Channel actually made good shows before they became woke. There's a show about But anyways, this particular episode of the show was in the Philippines. Was a company. It was a Japanese company, and they had a division. They opened up a division in the Philippines. The CEO went there and he got kidnapped. I think the show is about mercenaries. Anyways, the company. So the company hires some mercenaries to go, and of course they're negotiating with these guys, through the police to try to get the CEO. They wanted something like $3 million, which is really nothing for a company, but so the company got $3 million, and the police they were supposed to go meet up at this warehouse to exchange $3 million for the CEO, and the mercenaries were the ones who were supposed to, I forgot if it was the police or the mercenaries. But anyways, this CEO ends up getting killed. They've already killed him. They've already killed him before before the money exchange. So when the deal went through, the mercenaries kicked in. Of course, they raided the warehouse and killed the bad guys. And of course, as it turns out, the one of the bad guys was a police officer, so there was inside so they had inside help. Yeah, but the Philippines is known as just a bad place. So later, when I talked to him again, because he's like, what are you talking about? Later when we were talking again, he kind of passed by and said, yeah, I had 2 bodyguards. It's like, okay, well, you should have, if you go overseas as a CEO of a company, you should have bodyguards regardless. Especially, well, I guess if you're going to Europe, you probably don't need it. But yeah, but especially a place like the Philippines. But he mentioned, just a quick, he's like, hey, Mr. Chow was like, yeah, I had 2 bodyguards. I was like, okay, well, that's good. You're back here in the U.S. It's not a bad cigar. It's a strong cigar. Now it's burning evenly after I touched it up. I can feel the kick kicking in. But as for now, what I'm getting at is that some folks are talking about let's repatriate all the immigrants that are here in the U.S. I'm like, no, let's not do that. You allow them into your country, and some people are talking about repatriating 2nd and 3rd generations, like kids who were born here, and are American citizens, and we're talking about kids of the immigrants. Grandkids of the immigrants. I was like, no, let's not do that. Let's just deport. Let's just worry about deporting the the people who are here illegally. And if you want to, and I'm all for it. If you want to bring that number from 1 million down to 250,000, that's cool too. The boat's already full. Yeah, I drink caffeine to kind of counter the nicotine effect. Of course, what nicotine does, it lowers your blood pressure. So if you're smoking a cigar, you might feel your heart pounding a little bit. That's because your blood pressure is low. Yeah, like I said, some guys are hardcore. They'll smoke a Churchill in one sitting, with nothing to drink, no scotch, no whiskey, no water, no Coke, just. And these are older gentlemen, like way older than me. Of course, I know I got gray hair, but I'm talking about guys who are 15, 20 years older than me. They've probably been smoking this cigars a lot longer than I have, and I guess they developed a bit of immunity to the nicotine, or they build up a tolerance. Now I'll tell you, I have not built up that much of a tolerance to nicotine. No, I'm not smoking cigarettes, not smoking weed. No, I don't need another thing to be dipping into my my cash. Yeah, to me, weed stinks, and there's a lot of people who are, who are in the same opinion. Weed smells like weed, it doesn't smell like shit, but you know what I'm talking about. It really stinks. I'm really susceptible to the smell. I smell a little bit of it, and I can tell. Okay, man, that's weed. No, that no. And yeah, and it's just like smoking. When you smoke a cigar, you smoke weed. The smell does stick onto your clothes, to your skin. So even though I'm smoking this cigar outside, the smell still sticks onto my skin and my clothes. It'll be the same thing with cigarettes. Same thing with weed. So if you're smoking weed and you're in a state or municipality where it's because a lot of places now, I think it was 30 something now states where it's legal to smoke pot, but it's not legal to sell it. So you can possess it, you can smoke it. I think even here in Texas, if you possess, like, say, less than a certain amount, then they won't even bother. Like, he's only got like a dime size, or they find a rolled up joint in your pocket, and they still may charge you for it. if you're committing, like, say, a robbery or something, if cop catches you, it's like, okay, well, we're going to get you for robbery and we're going to get you for possession of marijuana. But I think in most places, even here in Texas, if the cop smells, if you're like out walking around somewhere, you just had a joint and you're reeking of weed, and you walk by a cop, he probably won't even bat an eye. He's like, okay, this dude smells like pot, but fuck it, he's just a smoker. All right, and the last thing I'll talk about is climate change. Of course, we know that Michael Moore did his documentary, which I don't know, it was available on YouTube. People are petitioning YouTube to take down his new documentary, which I should check it out before YouTube bans it. But basically, what he's saying is that and I covered this in the last video. Basically, what he's saying is that the clean energy isn't what it was. Yeah, nice peppery ash. So, yeah, this ash should not drop until I get to the 2/3, which is where the band is right here. And if you can, keep the ash on there, because the ash acts as insulation. So as soon as you flick it, and you get the cherry at the end, I normally touch it up with the torch lighter a little bit, just to get more heat onto the tip of the cigar. But yeah, but if you don't have to flick it, don't flick it. If you see it like bending, like it's about to fall off, then yeah, go ahead and flick it. But basically, the ash acts as insulation. Yeah. So what he's saying is that the clean energy is not working. And that solar and wind isn't what it was promised to be. And of course, the climate change folks who are pro clean energy, you can't deny it, because you got solar farms that are sitting empty. The company has gone bankrupt. You got wind farms that are sitting empty again, because the company's gone bankrupt. So you got all of these, especially here in Texas, out in West Texas, we got wind farms that are. We got windmills out there, or wind turbines. They're not windmills. The wind turbines sitting out there rotting, and falling over. Hopefully it doesn't kill somebody. Because again, the solar panels, the wind turbines are not recyclable. From what videos I've watched and from what I've read, to make it rigid, to make the blades of the wind turbine rigid, they're filled with foam. So you got like 5 tons of foam in each of those blades. And as we all know, foam is not recyclable. I guess you could recycle, the metal, but then again, metals like aluminum, I think tin. So if the blades are made out of aluminum, yeah, you can probably peel the aluminum off, but then you still got 5 tons foam that you gotta do something with, and that's just going into the into the dump. Same thing with solar panels. The panels are not recyclable, so those are just going into the dump. And if you look it up, there are literally hundreds of wind farms and solar farms that are just sitting there decaying and just rotting out in the desert. And of course you got the second group. Well, actually they're all in one. And then you got the second group who are the there's too many people on Earth. That's the Bill Gates people. You know, there's too many people on Earth. We got to cull the human population. And a lot of people are saying, they're saying, hey, you know, coronavirus is a Bill Gates test to see, to see how people would react, or his Bill Gates and his people testing to see how people would react to a plague or to a pandemic, so that yeah, because basically coronavirus, as a lot of people say, is pretty much less lethal than the common flu, and and of course they're selling us that coronavirus is a lot more dangerous than the flu. It might be more infectious than the flu. That's about it. But as for lethality, it's not as lethal as the flu virus. And of course, my thinking is, when these people at Bill Gates say that there's too many people on Earth, what they're talking about, there's too many Westerners, too many white people on Earth, and when they're talking about we need to thin the population, they're talking about white people, because the only people that they preach, what's the billboard? I think the billboard was over in Europe. Or it was a TV advertisement where they're talking about, don't fight climate change, don't have children. They're of course they're pointing that at white folks. Don't have children to fight climate change. And they're pointing that at white folks. I mean, they're not going to India. With 1.2 billion people and telling them, hey, fight climate change, don't have children. They're not going to the Middle East or Africa, where the average women are having about 6 to 7 children. They're not going there and saying, hey man, fight climate change, stop having children. And they're definitely not going to China, but China's already doing it. I mean, they've had the one-child policy for decades. They've now lifted it where you can have 2 kids. And the thing is that speaking to relatives in China, they've said, yeah, well, people here in China, we're having more than 2 kids. It's just that either you paid, I think it was like something 8,000 American for the second kid, and subsequent kids. So if you were rich, you could have as many kids as you want. Or like they said, what a lot of farmers were doing, because if you go to rural China, you'll see 3, 4, 5 kids per household. Or what you can do is like people who live in rural China, where they don't even bother registering their kids. So technically, yes, the Chinese were, that's just getting there. So yeah, so the Chinese were still having more than 2 kids. It's just that one, you either didn't register them, or 2, you paid a fee of around, I think it might be $10,000. Anyway, it's somewhere around $8,000, $10,000 per extra kid that you had. Or as for the stories of forced abortions, where women who had 1 kid and then they were caught having a second kid, and the CCP police comes and drags the woman off to some government abortion center. That I don't know. The Chinese folks don't talk about that, nor have they mentioned it. But I'm pretty sure they did it. Because if the CCP comes to you and like, hey, look, or someone turns you in, one of your neighbor turns you in, it's like, hey, Ling here had 1 kid, she's pregnant again. they'll come to you, hey man, you got the $10,000? Well, you better come up with the $10,000 before, I don't know, the second trimester. If you don't, we're gonna come and drag you off and abort your baby. On top of now for the second one, which is all of these families aborting baby girls. Yes, a lot of families were aborting baby girls. That's why the male to female ratio in China, I think, is something like it's not, well, I guess it is pretty bad. It's something like 5-1. To where here in the U.S. it's like I think there's 2.3 women. 2.3 women to 2 men, so the ratio is not too bad, because I think the U.S. population is like 54% women to 46% men, so it's pretty even, and it's the same for most countries. Most countries tend to have more women than men, only because of Mother Nature. More females just get born than male. But in China, a lot of families were aborting their babies. Okay, I'll cut it here on that. It's not a bad cigar. Definitely check out Brick House Maduro. I don't think they make any other brick houses except for Brick House Maduro. So I tried looking, I couldn't find it. The only thing I could find were Brick House Maduro. So this might be, like I said, one of those bigger houses deciding to do a little experiment. So hey, let's make this cigar, we'll call it Brick House, make it extra strong, and see how it sells. And yeah, I bought the 5 Corona just to test it, to see what the cigar is all about, but I ended up with 10 of them instead. Okay, with that said, thank you guys for watching. Enjoy your stick, and I don't think the prices, I don't know, it's depending on the website you go to, but the price of cigars has kind of stayed, where normalized. The prices are still normalized. It hasn't. I guess cigar smokers haven't made a rush on cigars, basically, and I don't think people are going to be making a rush on cigars anytime soon. It's just like alcohol. The price of alcohol has stayed the same as the price of cigars. Alcohol hasn't gone up by $5-10. But then again, this is the U.S. We kind of have a I forgot what that law. The thing is per state or per county. The anti-price gouging laws. Well, anyways, thank you guys. Enjoy your smoke, and you have a good day.